This is going to be the really, really low quality item video for Zed. So basically, I'll be going away for university and I will be spending a lot of time basically just traveling. So I won't have time to make videos, and I don't actually have that much time today either. So basically, I just want to make a video on the Zed build I'm doing right now without actually having to put in any amount of effort at all into the video. So yeah, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to see me and listen to me instead. So today I'm going to go over basically the Zed build I'm doing right now, which is, what date is it? It is the 14th of August, and it's with duskblade being changed. And the current build I do in order is I go longsword with a refillable and warding totem as normal. And you can skip refillable for 3 potions if you're having a difficult lane to go into. But I don't particularly like the 3 potion start anymore because I've realized how much money you do save on refillable, even though I was very much against refillable before. I've sort of adapted to the playstyle. It does make early game a little bit more difficult, and I do like to play around the lethality spike and the fact that I run HP per level seals, which means my early game is not as strong as it could be. So normally I wouldn't do refillable, but I do refillable right now. I think it works out quite well. It's a really good item, and you end up saving a lot of money on it. You don't have to buy potions preemptively that you might not even use, and you end up selling them and just waste gold basically. So I think it's quite nice, and it also makes it so you can always afford a control ward when you go back. So I do this, or you can also do Doran's Shield with a potion and then Warding Totem. At this point, I don't think you should get the refillable, because the refillable, if you already spent money, you can get it, but usually you're going to get to the point where you don't really have 150 gold to spare. So normally that won't really be... If you have 150 gold to spare and you don't want to get a ward, you can, when you come back, get a longsword and a refillable, but usually I would say just skip the refillable at that point. And let's see... Then you come back with 10,000 gold. Usually you don't, but at that point I'd go a dirk into... wow, I'm so used to be able to move the camera with WASD. With a dirk with... let's say we have the refillable still. I'd do a dirk with 2 longswords normally, or a dirk with like this, depending on how much gold you have. If you don't have the 50 gold and you can't actually spend it on anything else, and normally I'd go like this, and you'd build straight into duskblade. So you do like this, and if you're sitting at dirk and warhammer without the 700 gold for duskblade, you can do another longsword, but normally at this point you're getting way too slow, so I'd rather just do boots. And then on the longsword, if you're getting really unlucky, you can go another longsword if you still can't afford it. I'm not AFK, I'm talking. Okay, there we go. And then I pick up duskblade, because duskblade right now is pretty crazy. Truly, if you actually change your playstyle to play around duskblade, is a fantastic item right now. Which means playing around duskblade means you engage immediately when you see someone to get the proc damage. You play around moving out of their vision, and you play around the fact that you actually have always knowledge of if you're standing on a ward. Because basically, wait, is there a way to teleport with this? So basically, oh, right, there aren't any enemy champions. So basically, you'd know, because you'd see the Night Stalker thing tick down while you're next to, you're visible to a champion. So if you were to stand here, if you were to walk around here and then stand in here, and your Night Stalker would be disappearing, you'd know they have vision on me, they have a ward in here. So after that you go another dirk, which is just standard. You don't really need... Normally if you do duskblade first, which you would never do before they buffed it, you'd have to go CDR, but because it already gives you CDR, you don't have to go CDR. So you can just go dirk, you do duskblade into dirk, into warhammer, and then at this point you can finish off boots, but I would almost always finish Yomus first, and then consider finishing boots. But what I like to do is I go another dirk, If you can buy another Dirk, you'll buy another Dirk in this build. From this point on, it's not as important to go Edge Knight immediately, especially because Edge Knight is a little bit clunky. If you're looking at our items right now, you can only get one more item, that's maybe the pickaxe. And this combination is good, it's just not that good. It's not really a Warhammer. And from here, you're kind of locked into needing 1125, or you have to sell your refillable. So you can leave it like this, which gets you into Cleaver, which has an even worse build path, like a far worse build path. And normally you do Phage because you already have 20% CDR, you don't have to rush the Kindle Gem. And at this point, you can sell your potion if you need to. As I said, with Edge Knight, you can always sell it. But I'd always recommend picking up the Dirk before that, because the Dirk in itself, even if you don't upgrade it, is really good with your setup. Like right now we're sitting at 66 lethality, which is quite nice. So let's gonna see this. Also, Oracle passive is also quite nice for it. You can clear wards and everything. Duskblade is fantastic right now. But eventually you will get your Cleaver. This will also change depending on what you're playing against. Meaning if you're playing against full squishes, you're snowballing out of control, this is what you do. You pick up like this. I actually ran out of gold. You pick up like this. And you don't build it necessarily in this order. Instead, at this point, or even at this point, I'd say at this point, if you're snowballing out of control, this is a very viable choice. And then this into Yomus, into another Dirk, into Edge Knight, into another Dirk, and then you sell this and get Cleaver. This is the absolute massive snowballing build right now, from my opinion. You can blow up basically anything right now. This is the setup I have in Ruins and Masters right now is just normal 1218Z with arm penetration marks or lethality marks, HP per level seals, MR glyphs, 80 quints. You can change that around. A lot of pros like to do 3 MR per level and then 6 scaling CDRs to get 10% at 18, which is fine. I just think with Zed you really don't need it anymore, because you get CDR so quickly, so easily from so many sources. You get CDR 10% here, 10% here, 20% here, 10% here, 10% here. It's ridiculous. And then you get it from blue as well, which you really like having. So I really don't think you need to buy like force in extra CDR in your any of your builds, because, well, you'll get it eventually. So if you really want CDR, I'd much rather say go flat, because at the point where you get your scaling CDR, you already have items to compensate for that CDR. So you really don't need scaling CDR, in my opinion. I feel like it's just dead, in my honest, serious, legit, experienced, but not really that great opinion. So let's take a look at what you do if you're not snowballing. So if you get stuck over here, basically, if you are just done with your duskblade and you're not sure what to build, finishing a Dirk is still fine. And honestly, no matter what you're facing, finishing Yomos is never bad. But then we get to the difficult part here. So the 1100 for a Dirk, this is really good if you can properly utilize it and blow someone up. If you can't blow someone up, you won't really have the same use for it, because the problem with spending 1100 on Dirk is that you won't actually get to build an item out of it if you're behind. Because if you're behind, you cannot afford to build Edge Knight. You need to go into Cleaver and Bork. This is what you need to have. And at this point, if you're struggling, which I'm assuming you are, because that's our base assumption, you also want to sell the Dirk and get a GA. Which isn't bad in the snowballing build either. When you get to the point that you have so much gold that you can sell the Dirk and get a GA, usually you're going to blow them up with that anyway. And at that point, if you've gotten so far into the game, you're going to need the GA for team fights anyway. So, and of course, boots, we have not that many options really. I mean, you have Mercs is the standard one. Swifties is not really seen that much anymore. The main boots you go between is Ninja Tabi and Mercs really. You can do Ninja Tabi Mercs, never do Lucidity. As far as I know, there's really no point to it, because again, you're gonna get the CDR anyway. There's an argument for Mobies and Swifties, but I would really just say Ninja Tabi instead. 30 armor and 10% block of auto attacks is just way too good to skip. And of course, that is also assuming that they don't have CC, in which case Mercury Treads is just way better. So Lucidity is way overkill indeed, Scalist. So I'm thinking at this point this is a fairly standard build. You can also do, if you're struggling, oh, I can't actually, how far can I undo? If you're struggling with, if you are struggling with AP, you can go standard longsword, refillable, ward, and then you finish this into either Hex Drinker, or you finish a Dirk and then Hex Drinker. And then you leave this Hex Drinker here for a while, you finish Duskblade, you finish Yomos, you finish Boots, which has to be Mercury's, obviously, if you're struggling against AP, but always keep this Hex Drinker around. Eventually you finish this. At this point, this is a difficult situation, because at this point you have 30% CDR. Black Cleaver is 400 HP, 40 attack damage, 20% CDR. Not getting any value for the extra 10% CDR, like only getting 10%, is kind of a big deal. So you have to consider if you really want the cleaver, and if you don't want the cleaver, you can do something really cool here. You can do a Death Stance, not in this order actually. You can do at this point, you can consider doing something as fun as this. You do Mortal Reminder, Death Stance. This is a really fun build. I usually never skip cleaver because I think it's just such an essential item on Zed. It puts you at a constant 40% basically, as with the changes, and ZTT, MC2, grow up. It puts you at a constant 40%, and you do have a compensation with the 35% bonus armor penetration. It's not huge, but it does a bit. And Grievous Wounds is enormous. It is enormous. If you're killing an AD carry, or basically anyone with a heal, it's fantastic. If you're throwing in your E into an enemy team when they have a healer, like a WE or WEQ, it's fantastic. You're denying so much healing, which is essentially, if you look at it that way, it's basically damage you're doing to them. The healing they're not getting is basically damage you're doing. And that damage is quite fantastic. So those are some of the sample builds I have right now. But my biggest recommendation is still this, into this, but before that you get this, and then you get this, finish these potentially, or normally you just go that, finish that, finish, normally you'd finish Cleaver here, then Edgeonite, then another Dirk, but you can also do finish Edgeonite, another Dirk, then Cleaver, and this is fun stuff. So, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, but otherwise, might be a little bit more distant with videos. I'll try to keep you guys updated, but I do have a montage coming eventually, I promise. It's in the works, it's almost finished, and it's going to be quite interesting, so make sure to stick around for that, you know, figuratively, because you don't actually have to stick around that long, but yeah. Anyway, hope you guys will enjoy that, and yeah, I hope the university goes well, and hope moving goes well and all that, so I think it will. Just remember, I will never stop doing YouTube and streaming, because I do enjoy it quite a bit. But I have to prioritize. In any case, hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, shoot them down below. I'll see you guys next video. Peace.